Well, hello and welcome to EdStoic Education. Today I thought I'd just give a very short presentation on how to answer an exam question. Now, a number of you in English language and in other VCE subjects will have to respond what's called an extended response. So for English language students, you have section A, which is your short answer questions, section B, which is the analytical commentary, and then you've got the essay question. Now, the essay question requires you to respond at length to a prompt using stimulus material and also drawing on your own resources and your own example. So today I want to go through what you're being asked to do with those essays, looking at the directions that you're given. So those verbs that can give you a command on how to respond to the prompt. Now, if you're not an English language student, stay tuned because this is relevant for you. If you're in a subject that requires an extended or essay response, then you need to know how you are to write that response. What are they asking you to do? So the first command that I want to look at is analyze. So you get the prompt and then you might get the direction to analyze. Now, what does that mean? It means to explain all of the W's. The what, the where, the who, the when, the why, and the how. So what you're doing is you're taking a close look at this particular aspect of the course. Now, when you do that, you also need to look at the for and the against. You look at the strengths and weaknesses of the for and the strengths and weaknesses of the against. So I think this is a really good way of unpacking your essay if you get an analysis prompt. So you start off with your introduction where you open it up and look at the what, the where, the who, the when, the why, and the how so that you've got your introduction. And then look at perhaps the for arguments and their strengths and weaknesses and the against arguments and their strengths and weaknesses. And then maybe look at an example in detail to support what you have spoken about earlier. And then, of course, draw it all to a conclusion. You'll also at times get either compare, and it might stand on its own, or a contrast direction, or sometimes they're together, compare and contrast. So what is that asking you to do? It's asking you to discuss, if you get compare, similarities and differences. Now that might be in English language on regional variation or ethnolex or a whole range of other subjects that you have studied this year and that you know really well. So again, if you're getting a comparison, you discuss the similarities and the differences between two or more things. Now, in an essay response in the exam, you don't have a lot of time, so it's probably best to keep your 4 to 5 paragraph plan and discuss perhaps 2 things so that you can compare them. And with each, again, you introduce it in your opening paragraph. The next paragraph, you perhaps might look at the similarities in that paragraph, then follow on with the differences, and then draw it all together by explaining why this comparison is useful. What does it bring to light? By comparing these 2 things, what aspects of English language has it highlighted? Now, if you get the contrast direction, then you discuss 2 or more things again that are different, and what you try to do is highlight what distinguishes them. What's the difference between them? Again, though, don't forget that even when you're contrasting, that you're still explaining what is useful, what is it bringing to light, what is it helping unpack or reveal about this aspect of the study. Now, some other commands that you might get is define, describe, and discuss. Discuss is probably the most popular prompt used. If you go back over past exams, often you'll see discuss. Probably in your SACs this year, you've also seen the command to discuss. So if you're asked to define, then you're asked to state what something means or what it does, what it achieves, what it leads to, what action results from it. If you're asked to describe, then list all the characteristics and traits of whatever it is that you're being asked to describe. So you might be asked to describe a particular aspect of the course of study. So then what you do is you summarize all the main features of that language feature and then focus in on what the prompt is getting you to focus in on. Remember, your stimulus material and your prompt guide you on what you're going to use as your subject, as your content, and then you're going to use the prompt direction to guide how you approach it. Now, the third one is discuss, and as I said, this is probably the most popular direction. This is a bit more analytical than the other two. So what I recommend is, if you get discuss, begin with a description of the essay focus, the essay topic, then present the arguments for and the arguments against, and analyse any advantages or disadvantages that this highlights. And then, of course, give a nice summary paragraph at the end to conclude your work. You may also get evaluate or explain. Sometimes you also could get explore, which is giving you really a much more general approach to the topic. But if you get evaluate, offer the for and against arguments, the positives and negatives of whatever the prompt is directing you to. So the two language features that the prompt is directing you to, or the two regional dialects or ethnolects or identity, whatever it is that the prompt is directing you to, and the stimulus material is giving you support in that. Then evaluate the reasons why you support it, why you don't support it, that position, and evaluate the reasons for the weaknesses. So you can see here too how you can set up your essay by setting up the for and the against arguments, exploring them, looking at their weaknesses, looking at their strengths, and then you bringing it all together by evaluating it and coming to a conclusion. If you get explain or explore, just explain the why or the how and justify your position and your reasoning. So explain why this is so, or justify why this is the outcome if these ethnolects meet, or say with English coming into contact with other Englishes. So justify your position and always support it with good reasons. Now, probably less often you'll get prove or summarise. This is probably more relevant to those of you studying other VCE subjects. But if you're asked to prove something, again, include examples which provide evidence for your view. So make sure you take a position and then support it throughout and come to a nice strong conclusion. I don't think you'll get summarise. You could get that perhaps in a shorter answer question. That's just, if you're going to summarise something, you look at it holistically, you list all the major ideas, the themes, the views on linguistics, present and explain these main ideas, then discuss the strengths, the weaknesses, okay, and make sure you're evaluating them more fully throughout the body of your essay. Now, I know this was nice and brief. It's just a short little tutorial on unpacking the essay prompts. I hope you find it valuable, and good luck with all of your exam prep. I wish good luck to all VCE students across Australia, HSC, VCE, who are about to commence their examination period. And until next time, keep studying.